trying to compete with Silicon Valley it's crazy. They don't have that problem. They don't have that problem. Now I'm blasting through that because I worked with them for so long. I'm trying to extend, that relationship into Syracuse, but it's hard. And it would be great to get that support outside of Syracuse and have it not just be about, do we have that immediate problem today? That's where you see some of the leaders are looking at like Micron and bringing jobs. And I'm like, but this is giving us a voice for the rural communities, for the non-Silicon Valley companies.
Well, as we conclude, I think if you really want to compete with them, I think you just need a nose ring and a flat brim hat. And then you are totally a tech person.
I am. Unfortunately, that's what everybody tells me. I'm like, I am. Yes. They're like, stop talking about features. And I'm like, I know. I am a huge nerd. I was going to go to engineering school and I got a little bit scared, but I probably should have.
Well, hi.
Hi.
This is Ursamin's Unlimited Access. My name is Levi.
I am Shannon Ellsworth.
And, here at Ursamin, we believe that people make better health decisions when they have access to all of their data, all of their records, education, their calendar, their doctors, you name it. And what we want to talk about today is we want to talk about kind of like who we are here in Syracuse. So what most people don't know is that we are a Syracuse-based company. So we have people all over the U.S. and the world doing a lot of different work.
Yeah.
But you
trying to bring jobs here.
Yeah. So you and I are actually here in Syracuse.
Yeah. Yes.
You are a Syracuse native. So I thought I'd give you kind of a quick background about me. Do you know where I'm from?
You are from Hawaii.
That's right.
Correct?
Well, I claimed that.
And somehow ended up here.
Yeah. So what happens is this. So I claim Hawaii.
Yeah, you do claim Hawaii.
Because I'm an Uber driver. And if I actually had to tell my passengers all the different places I've lived when they say, where are you from? The Uber drive would be over before I would get through them all. Because I was born in Montana. Right? And moved to Nebraska.
There's the information I wanted. Mm-hmm. New information. So you're born in Montana, moved to Nebraska.
Moved to Nebraska.
Was your dad Army, military?
Yeah.
Okay.
So was my mom. My mom was in the WAF, Women's Air Force.
The WAF? I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I've never heard that.
I know, WAF. I know.
The WAF. I'm sorry. Go women in the Air Force. That's cool. I just would not let them call me that, the WAF.
Yeah, but they had it was like women's Air Force uniforms and everything else.
It's okay. It's okay. So how long were you in Montana?
I don't know.
Okay.
2 years.
Not long enough to call it home.
Every place was 2 years. So as I go through this list, just think 2 years. So it's Montana, Nebraska, Virginia, Hawaii, first time. Then I went to Japan, went to Texas, went back to Hawaii, second time.
Oh, good Lord.
Then we went to Georgia. And then I joined the Air Force. And I went back to Hawaii for the third time.
Oh, that's
and I was there for like 4.5, 5 years. That's where I met my wife. And then we went to Georgia. And then we went to Japan again.
Oh, my God.
And then we came here.
Okay.
And so we came here. I went here for grad school. And this was that. But yeah, Hawaii nonetheless.
Where's your longest stint?
Hawaii.
Okay. Then Hawaii.
Well, now it's here.
Oh, okay. So soon you're going to be, because you seem like a native.
I am a native now.
Yeah.
I am a native now.
Like I lived in Virginia for a long time and I was getting to the point where I was like, I'm a Virginian. I'm dual citizenship. Syracuse and Virginia. I am.
You've got your passport.
I love my Virginia friends, my Virginia peeps.
Virginia is for lovers.
Yes.
So that's a little bit about me and my background, but you are from Syracuse.
Yes, I am a native. I'm a native.
Born
and raised.
And
Southside. Southwest.
You came back here to start Ursamin.
I came back here to be with my family. I started Ursamin as a result of an experience with my family. Yeah. I moved when I was 17. Well, I shouldn't say I moved. 17, I went to school in Rochester, Geneseo. Woo woo. Came back, went to the Peace Corps. So went to Honduras. Came back, ran a bar, ran a restaurant, went, what am I doing? And moved to Virginia. Right. And then Kansas, and then circled back around in 2010. I always wanted to come back home. The industry that I wanted to be in, which is technology, didn't really exist here. So I left and went to a place that had it. And then I always wanted to come home. And so I did. And my mission has been to start technology and join the technology community here and try and help with that gap that we have in Syracuse between 20 and 40 of people staying in here.
Right.
So it's great to see some of the things going on, like with Micron and JMA and all that. But yeah, so I've been here since 2010, had the experience with my mom, that whole experience, now my dad, and went, well, there's my way to give back to our community.
So your background is in technology. Your background in health is as a caregiver, both for your mother and your father. And so you started Ursamin. Here we are in Syracuse. And so what we wanted to do today is really reach out to the caregiver in Syracuse.
Yes.
Right. So why are you passionate about the Syracuse caregiver?
Oh, why am I passionate? That's a lot of answers, but I would say, as a caregiver, and it's Syracuse because I don't know if it's Syracuse or everywhere. Syracuse to me is a passion of mine just because I love Syracuse. I love what we offer. I love the community. You can go anywhere in the world and meet somebody from Syracuse and they're the nicest person on the planet. I've had people that I've met in elevators at 3 a.m. where you should be kind of creeped out and you're like, yeah, I just flew in. And you're like, where are you from? They're like, I'm from Syracuse. What's going on? Like, nicest people on the planet. So as I keep saying, give back to the community. So Syracuse, and then the caregivers, it was my experience and now with my dad and previously with my mom. And in all honesty, caregiver can be a parent of, you're dealing with a child who's sick, anybody really who's a caregiver. The passion is that it is so exhausting to try and get resources, and we are outside the table of care. So the care has this kind of unit of the medical people and the patient, and it's all built for that. And the caregiver's jumping around like a little kid trying to get in. And that's exhausting. It's deflating. It's discouraging. It is heartbreaking. With my mother, I had regret. There were things I could have done had I known. Living with that regret after she passed. Listen, I don't want anybody to go through that. I want everybody to feel like they have control and they know what to do and they can do something to give back to that person and their loved one. And there's a lot of other things too, but I think it's really about giving the caregiver some control of their life and being able to get back that care that they want for the person they love.
So as here we are in Syracuse, and we're trying to give the caregiver control through the app Ursamin.
Yeah.
And so we're just reaching out through social media. And caregiver, we want to hear your story, right? Yeah. And I think that's part of it, is this idea of like, the more stories, the more power it is to kind of unite and kind of rally around this challenge. And the challenge isn't necessarily the caregiver. They're putting their energy into the patient, right? Mom, dad, son, daughter, whoever.
Yep.
And so they're putting their power and their energy into that. We want to empower them. We want to hear their story. So can you just make that call and say, hey, I want to hear from you?
Yeah, when we first started this, it was like everybody had a story. Every time I said it, somebody had a story. And listen, my story is dramatic and exhausting. Or I shouldn't say exhausting. It had a different end than some other people's. Everybody's story is different. As a caregiver, everybody has a different type family support role, has a different healthcare system. Listen, sometimes it's really great. And they say, hey, listen, I don't have that problem. I have another problem. We started with medical records because they say solve the hardest problem first and then build on that. And so that's, we're really like, how do we help? Tell us your story. Tell us what you want us to add to the platform. Tell us what other resources do you want? I was just mentioning earlier that we're going to we're looking at accelerating things like access to clinical trials. And how do you get access to clinical trials for your loved one? For my mom, I had to Google and look those up. So each person's going to be different. You're going to have a different scenario. There's 53 million caregivers, and you can't say everyone doesn't have a different situation. Right. So the more we hear, the more we learn, the more we can tailor what the platform looks like for you.
But it's not only like we want to hear from you. Like, we literally would like to, we'll talk to you.
We'll we would love to put you on the podcast.
Right. We want to get your story out because
we want people to hear, because people want to hear your story. The providers want to hear it. People are waiting to hear it. It's a really good clarification. There was a woman on one of the social media groups that says we are not uniting enough as caregivers to speak our mind because we're tired. So telling the story of the caregiver, being able to put you on the podcast would be awesome because they just don't hear it enough. You always hear it from the patient.
The more challenging the caregiving situation, it seems to me like the more like that person's almost locked away, right?
Yes.
So if you're at home, right, with mom or dad, you can't get away.
True, you can't.
You're almost like in like this. You're the prison guard.
The warden, as my dad's doctor calls me.
Yeah, the warden.
Yeah, you can't. You're stuck. You feel like you're stuck. And a lot of them don't have support systems. So you're like stuck. I don't even have time. They're like, I don't even have time. I feel guilty. Taking a little bit of time for myself. You're like, oh my God, people take PTO on their job all the time. Why is caregiver not the same that you get PTO? Take some time off, come talk to us, maybe get your frustration off your chest and see if we can't rally around getting more help for caregivers, especially in Syracuse. It's interesting. New York has 25% caregiver rate. It's huge. I didn't know that. So there's a lot of us out there that need a voice.
Well, I think what's really inspiring, maybe not I think, but I know what's inspiring about your story is that not only did you come back to Syracuse, but you started this technology company as a women-owned business here in Syracuse. You're pretty humble about it, but I think you're a thought leader in this industry. And what would you say to the rest of the industry about who you are here in Syracuse, women-owned business? What would you say to the rest of the industry? Like, listen to me.
Well, I'm not sure I understand that question. Because yes, all of a sudden you're like, let's talk about you. And I'm like,
well, I mean, like,
what would I say?
What are the challenges that being a women-owned business
is a women-owned business owner?
In Syracuse. Like,
in Syracuse, it's hard.
Against this.
In Syracuse, it's hard.
You could be, how about this? A 20-something-year-old software engineer in San Francisco guy.
Yeah.
Right? That's your competitor, right? To some extent, right?
It's true. Yeah. It's really hard. I'd like support, to be honest. I don't want to say I don't feel support. I feel like we are traditionally, and we have industries that we're used to, and a woman-owned technology business around healthcare is not something that people glom onto here. If you're a medical device, if you're biopharma, if you're, the kind of saving lives things, the really, hey, I can save lives. And we do save lives. You just don't, you don't see it. Like if you're in the ER and they've got your records and they can save your life. So it would be really great to get a conversation going around what I'm doing with Ursamin and how do we because we're applying outside. Again, Silicon Valley has, a bazillion investors, and listen, here's what's interesting. They sit in the middle of a technology-rich environment who is out there doing all sorts of stuff with all these schools, and they're building these fantastic platforms. But they're in their little isolation group out there. So when I pitch to them, they go, oh, we don't have that problem. We don't have that. I'm like, well, the rest of the world does. Syracuse has this problem.
That's right.
We should have a louder voice. I'm not saying it has to be with my company. Any company that's trying to compete in this space, especially as a female, trying to compete with Silicon Valley it's crazy. They don't have that problem. They don't have that problem. Now I'm blasting through that because I worked with them for so long. I'm trying to extend, that relationship into Syracuse, but it's hard. And it would be great to get that support outside of Syracuse and have it not just be about, do we have that immediate problem today? That's where you see some of the leaders are looking at like Micron and bringing jobs. And I'm like, but this is giving us a voice for the rural communities, for the non-Silicon Valley companies.
Well, as we conclude, I think if you really want to compete with them, I think you just need a nose ring and a flat brim hat. And then you are totally a tech person.
I am. Unfortunately, that's what everybody tells me. I'm like, I am. Yes. They're like, stop talking about features. And I'm like, I know. I am a huge nerd. I was going to go to engineering school and I got a little bit scared, but I probably should have.
Well, I think, in all seriousness, I think Syracuse needs leaders like you. I think Syracuse needs this type of business. And I think the caregivers here, specifically in Syracuse, are going to really, get a lot of value.
Support us and give us a voice. Yeah, I think about that. I'm like, give Syracuse a voice in the tech space. We don't have it yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And give caregivers a voice.
Caregivers a voice in the caregiving. Yeah. Yeah. We just need a
space.
Voice, right? Yeah. We're not like, hey, give us money. We just need a voice and in support. I actually am going down to DC in a couple of weeks to meet with the Congress to talk about helping consumers and caregivers and healthcare, and like that kind of stuff it's really fun. It's exciting to be able to be in the front of change.
Well, I hope you have a big pocketbook to give them a donation or something.
The beautiful thing is CTA does it for us. Yeah, I just found this group that they like bundle all of us together, and they're like, we just gang up all the startups and we bring them in to go pitch our stories, as opposed to being like an Amazon who has a big pocketbook. So I'm really stoked about that because I didn't think we could afford to do it.
We call that a lobbyist.
We're basically going to be a lobbyist,
It's a lobbyist.
but they're being smart and saying, let's go get all the little guys, and if you all throw in $50, we can go storm the castle.
There you go. Is it January 6th you're visiting? Okay. On that note, we will.
I was talking about the Princess Bride. You went
storm the castle. Well,
have fun storming the castle.
My name is Levi. Here at Ursamin, we believe again that you, a caregiver here in Syracuse, will make a better health decision for you and your family and your patient. If you have access to all of that, and Ursamin will provide that. So please log in, sign up. Shannon, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Just one last note. If you want to be on our podcast, Shannon at Ursamin.com, hop on our page. There's an info button. Just shoot your note in there, and we would love to have you on. You'd get to have fun with Levi.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that people see what you're talking about. So if there's something you want to get out to the masses, that's us. We'll help you do that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.